it's not just about the scandal, which in itself is quite big, but it's also about financial dealings and then trying to eradicate the business records as well. But if Donald Trump says, I had nothing to do with it, this is not illegal, this is clearly political persecution, US is going to hell, he says. What does the pornography star say? Stormy Daniels was the first to say that she did have a sexual encounter with Donald Trump in 2006. This, remember, when he was the reality television star with regard to the Apprentice show, and Trump allegedly promised her, Stormy Daniels, she said, on his reality show, The Apprentice. So that promise also was made to her after that encounter. And then he would call me occasionally. He addressed me as Honey Bunch, as one of a nickname. Stormy Daniels also added that there was a major publication that refused to publish her story in 2011 when she wanted to speak up about it. This is when sort of around when Donald Trump had about and was starting to get into politics as well. But the publication backed out because Trump had threatened legal action, because did she really have evidence to prove these massive allegations against Donald Trump? So the visuals there on your screen, this is when he had landed at the attorney's office in Manhattan. He had come to the New York City when he landed in New York, it was in a chartered aircraft. Then he went to the attorney's office. There were enough supporters also who were cheering him on. He's waving to some of them. But because the allegations are so strong, it could threaten his political career, specifically if he wishes to return as a presidential nominee for 2024 presidential elections. I want to understand from you, Hiral, how was his reactions, body language when he had landed, when he was waving to his supporters? He's someone who can be quite boisterous. If required, you know, he tries to show that he's very defiant of everything going around him. How was he at this point of time? Same, or perhaps a bit of tension did show on his face?
He was, I would say, understated. He was trying to be as nonchalant about it as possible. So there was no the usual boisterousness that we expect from Donald Trump. A lot of us were expecting some sort of vocal remark from him before he goes in and stuff. But I think he was counseled into underplaying the whole bit leading up to the indictment, because he did not want that anything should be added to his the woes already. The judge who is presiding over the indictment is known to be pretty stern and in control of his court. So as a defendant present there, Donald Trump could not have afforded any of his usual demeanor or theatrics that he deploys in a situation like this. But there was always a report in the media that there were reports in the media that he is going to use this stage. And thereby the whole look on his face, the tweet before going in that, oh, this is what America, can you believe it, this is happening in America. It was all his subtle way of leading us to playing the victim in that moment as somebody who's been wrongly or politically being persecuted in a democracy like America. So he played that part today more, and besides there was not much that could have been read from his expression. There was a major distance between where we were and from where he entered the courtroom. He was surrounded by a lot of security detail. The only gesture that he made was waving, and then throughout the indictment, he sat quietly and he listened with a grim face. So, and now when you listen to the speech coming out of Mar-a-Lago,
yes,
you just feel that this was all carefully planned. You know,
he was very cautious in New York, but by the time he had gone to Florida, that's where he opened up. That's where he spoke up. He will stay on with me, because even though many of the supporters were asked to not land up at the location, given the law and order situation, some of them did, because it was also in many ways to show that there is support backing Donald Trump from the Republican groups.